Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the University of Nottingham PGCEi webinar. My name is Helen Spiropoulos. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global, and joining me this evening from the University of Nottingham is Dr. Ruth. Good evening to you, Dr. Ruth.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good, and I do see that we have some people from, it is KSA, and I can see UAE, and I can see also from Africa. Okay, great, so welcome everyone. How we are going to conduct the webinar this evening is I'm just briefly going to introduce you to Stafford Global and what our role is, and then I'm going to hand you over to Dr. Ruth, who is going to take you through the program. Now, towards the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity to type out any questions that you may have for Dr. Ruth, and Dr. Ruth will obviously be the right person to answer questions related to the academics of the program. If you wish to ask any questions related to the admissions for the program, I'll gladly be able to answer those questions. Okay, so let's get started. Now, who is Stafford Global? Now, Stafford Global was established in 1993, and we are a resource centre for distance learning education in the Middle East. Now, we are currently the resource centre for 6 UK universities, one of which is the University of Nottingham, and we have a very, very long-standing relationship with the university. Now, we do offer a variety of programs ranging from certificates to diplomas, bachelor's, MBA, right through until doctorates. So we really do have all the programs for your personal and your professional needs. Now, our role here is and I'm sure you have been in communication with one of our experienced academic consultants. So our role is to assist you throughout the entire application process. And once you do become an official student of the university, all the academics is managed directly by the university. We do also offer some administrative support as well, so you are really well looked after throughout the application process until you start your program with the university. Okay, so I'm now going to hand you over to Dr. Ruth, and I will join you again towards the end of the presentation. Over to you, Dr. Ruth.
Thank you, Helen. And yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you for spending the time to join us today, because you may have had very busy days, especially if you work in classrooms, which I imagine many of you do. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about who we are at the University of Nottingham, so who you'll be joining if you come onto the PGCEi here. And I'll also be giving you some information about the content of the course itself, what you'll actually be doing on the PGCE International with us at the University of Nottingham. So we are a Russell Group university, so we're one of a small cluster of universities within the UK that's got quite high esteem in terms of being research based, and the quality of the teaching is quite well established. We're a very international university. We have campuses in China and in Malaysia, but even on our UK campus, we have a huge array of international students from all over the world. What we're recognised at the University of Nottingham for is some of the research that's going on. And in the School of Education in particular, we've got some quite big research projects at the moment. One of the things is the Maths Observatory, where we've got a £7 million grant to look into the quality of secondary school maths teaching across England and the United Kingdom. So it's quite a it's got quite a good reputation, the University of Nottingham, for good reason, particularly our School of Education. So the course itself is master's level, so you'll be gaining master's level credits, and it's a blended learning programme. So it's got a really flexible design. The course is mainly online, but there are also face-to-face workshops going on. So it's quite unique in the sense that it combines this face-to-face teaching, which happens in the UAE. Myself and my colleagues, a tutor team, we travel out to work with you there. And then the rest of the course continues in an online environment. So, you know, that gives you the advantage of having a qualification that, you know, it's not online only qualification, but you do have a lot of the advantages of working at times across the day that suit you, and managing the course in terms of your own daily work and time pressures. The focus of the course, I'm looking at that last bullet point now, is on your individual practice through theory. It enables you to compare teaching approaches in different countries. So we make the course unique to you, and you make the course unique to you. It's all about reflecting on your experience, whatever that experience is. So there's a lot of classroom teachers on the PGCEi. There's also a lot of learning support assistants and students that are in other educational roles where they can link the theory and the content of the course to their practice. So when I'm talking about teaching, as I'm going through the next few slides, if you're a learning support assistant, I'm still talking about what you do. So you know, you may be the classroom teacher, and it's very applicable to this role where you're running the whole class, but you may be a learning support assistant supporting that teacher, and you're still doing you know, your own practice and your own teaching through that. So we work through 3 units, and each unit is worth 20 credits. So they're evenly spread in terms of the credits that make up 60 credits in total by the end of the course. The first module is educational aims and values in international contexts. So this is about why you do what you do. So you'll teach in the ways that you do, and you'll have the choices in terms of how you organise the classroom, how you interact with your students. Some of those choices will be because the curriculum's the way it is and the school expects things in a certain way, but some of those choices might come down to your own educational value systems, what you consider to be goods and the purpose of education. So that first unit is a really important chance to reflect on why you teach the way you teach, and it might come down to cultural influences on you, it might come down to the environment you went to school in, it might come down to the different workplaces that you've been in, but it's a really nice chance to unpick what you feel like the purpose of education really is, and think about how that influences the way that you teach and the way you conduct yourself in classroom situations. The second module we then move on to is hugely popular. It's all about learning theory. So this I think of as like the bread and butter of teaching. It's about how students learn, and therefore how should we be teaching them. So you learn all kinds of teaching, you learn about all kinds of teaching techniques, such as collaborative learning, project-based learning, questioning techniques, behaviour management strategies, these kinds of things. And you look at them through the lens of learning theory, social constructivism. Do students learn from each other and you through social interaction? Do they learn from their environments? There's different ways to view how students learn, and this second module gives you a chance to really think about what they are, which resonate with you, and of course, just as a first unit, how that influences your practice. So you'll find throughout the course you're linking what you're reading about, the theory, the educational research going on, you're linking that to your classroom practice, to your learners, to your students in front of you every day, and to the choices you make as a teacher. The third unit keeps that theme really of linking to what you do, but rather than aims and values or learning, it looks at student understanding. So then you're moving on to think about how you know students are really understanding deeply the things that you're teaching them, and how you spot understanding and the different types of kind of understanding and ways students can understand that there are. So that third unit is particularly exciting, I think, because you get to do your own educational research. So you become a teacher researcher in that third module. And it's more straightforward than it sounds, because you'll take probably a small group of your own students and just investigate how they're understanding something that you've taught. But it does give you that chance to say, I've conducted my own research study, and you've done it with a very reputable university. So it's quite an exciting opportunity there. Each of those modules is assessed through a 4,000 word assignment. So there are different steps along the way before you get there, and you get a chance to get some feedback from your tutor about your plans and some writing on those themes. And then you have the assignment itself, which you submit for your mark and your 20 credits before you move on to the next module. So that's a bit about the course structure. And those credits that you gain can be used then in future towards a full MA qualification. So for example, at the University of Nottingham, we offer a MA in Educational Leadership and Management, which you can do online or face-to-face in Nottingham. We also do an MA in Education, which again you can do online or in person, and that runs a few times throughout the year. So we're also not the only, obviously, university that offers these MA courses. And what you'll find by doing the PGCEi is that you've got some master's level credits already, so they can be put towards a wider master's qualification. And of course, you gain your PGCEi certificate after completing the course too. So as I mentioned earlier, the materials are online. So they're there on a platform we call Moodle, an interactive learning platform for you to access and interact with at your own pace. It's a little bit like a textbook all inside your computer, but a bit more interactive than that. And you post on forums and communicate a lot with your colleagues on the course through that journey of getting ready to write that assignment towards the end of the module. There's also tutor support. So when you come out to the UAE for the face-to-face induction, or you go a little bit across the UAE, we're in Ajman for the face-to-face in March for the next cohort, you'll meet your tutor and you'll work with your tutor, and you'll learn from your tutor. And that's across a couple of days, but you'll find throughout the course that tutor is there. They're there via email, they're there feeding back on these pieces of work as you work towards your assignment. They're there with your feedback and your mark for your assignment itself. So they go with you, if you like, on your PGCEi journey, along with your colleagues on the course too. So most of the materials and the learning does happen online through your own pacing, but there is for each module a chance to get together with your tutor and have more of a group discussion, and your tutor is there to support you throughout your course. So your tutor you'll get will be your academic tutor and what we call your personal tutor. So if you've got questions throughout the course, you'll know who to go to and you'll have that support consistently all the way through. The other great thing I think about the University of Nottingham is that we're fortunate enough to have something we call CEEI, which stands for the Centre for English Language Education. So I mentioned that your assessments are these 4,000 word assignments, and for some of you that might sound quite appealing, but for some of you that might sound a little bit scary or completely terrifying, depending on what your experience has been writing academically and how long ago that was. But we completely understand that students are at different points in terms of their academic writing, and it might have been a long time since you wrote academically, or maybe it was in a completely different discipline to the kind of social science writing of education. So we have the support there for you through CEEI. And one thing that CEEI's done in the last few years is we've developed with them a bespoke course for our PGCEi students. So you've got an opportunity, and it's completely optional, but there is a talk course online with a CEEI tutor that goes through with you all the skills and the techniques to getting to a high level with your academic writing. So you've got the support there. CEEI also offers one-to-one tutorials where they look through some of your work with you, and they've also got online resources. So you can dip into those and go through the bits that you might just want to brush up on, just check about how you cite and reference or something like that. So you've got a lot of support along the way, not just your colleagues on the course that can be quite a big support and a nice connection to make, also your tutor who is there with you throughout your course, and you've got this CEEI service who are there to support, if you need it, your academic writing in English. So it's an opportunity to reflect on your practice, to gain the PGCEi, but some students also use it as an opportunity to kind of up their level of academic English as they're working through the course, and CEEI's there to help you do that. Having said that, it's an English language course, so we have entry requirements that make sure you do have the level of English that's needed to engage with the course, and that is an IELTS 6.5, okay, making sure you've got IELTS 6 in 4 elements. And this is to you know, gain access to the course, but it's also to be fair to you and make sure that your English level is what it needs to be to actually be successful on the course and to engage with all the elements on the course. So it works both ways, that. You also need a bachelor's degree, a 2-2 we call it, or second class honours, or equivalent, okay. So we do consider on a case-by-case basis non-standard applicants. Maybe you've got a huge amount of educational experience behind you, but you don't have that degree. So do get in touch and find out if you think, would this course be suitable for me? So yeah, I think one of the important things that is needed is you've got this regular connection to a classroom or an educational context. When I say classroom, we have a lot of PE teachers and their classroom is a swimming pool, so take that in the loosest form, but you do need access to learners. You do need access at least once a week, and some of students actually are volunteer teachers and they go in every week and have some access to a classroom that way. But many of our students are full-time teachers, which suits the course really well because they're surrounded by these experiences as teachers to reflect on during the course. But that's a little bit about the entry requirements. And then the application itself, you're going to need your degree, certificate and transcript, going to need a reference, it could be academic or work related, a personal statement, okay, maybe 500 700 words, a CV, and then we've got our own University of Nottingham application form for you to fill in. You need a copy of your passport and proof of that IELTS, that competency in English. So those are a few things to think about that you'll need for the application process. And the applications now, I think it closes around January time, is for our March cohort. And the current format is a two-part face-to-face where we meet in March and then we meet again in early October. And the programme commences, it begins in the 1st of March. So there are limited places per cohort. The induction programme, as I mentioned, we meet face to face and we work through some of the themes in the course together. We also discuss and get a little bit prepared for learning online and being a mature student ourselves, and we talk about that a bit. And these workshops in Ajman, they're happening on over a weekend, and by weekend we mean Saturday and Sunday. So it's Saturday the 15th of March and Sunday the 16th of March are the important dates for the diary. You can also check the cohort information page for the UAE March start, and it gives you the dates for the second induction as well. So always check the cohort page for the information about that, and the current format has got those two face-to-face workshops that are happening. So you can see the fee is there as well, and details on payment and the early bird discount as well. So in terms of your fees, Helen and the team at Stafford are really helpful to contact if you have questions about the fees. Okay, I'm going to pass back to you now, Helen, for any questions.
Thank you very much, Ruth. It was actually very, very informative. And I'm very pleased to announce that Dr. Jean has managed to also join us this evening. Welcome to you, Dr. Jean.
Thank you very much. And I'm so sorry I was late. I had a terrible IT malfunction.
Not a problem, but I'm very excited that you've joined us. So I'd like maybe Dr. Ruth to introduce Dr. Jean to everyone. So you all are aware of what Dr. Jean's function will be. Over to you, Dr. Ruth.
Yeah, Jean and I work very closely together on the UAE cohort. So we're both cohort coordinators, and we run, the UAE cohorts run twice a year. So I'll be coordinating the March start one, and Jean the one in October. Do you want to introduce yourself, Jean?
Yes, thank you, Ruth, and thank you so much, Helen. Yes, my name is Jean Dyson, and as Ruth said, we both work together on the PGCEi program. And I'm very, very excited to now be part of the UAE cohort. So I look forward to possibly meeting you if some of you decide to go to the October start of the cohort. But yes, I very much hope that we can work together. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so I have managed to group some of the questions together in the background whilst Dr. Ruth has been doing the webinar. So I'm just going to call them out, and either Dr. Ruth or Dr. Jean, you're really, very welcome to answer these. Okay, so the first question comes from Graham regarding assignments, and his question is, do we have group assignments? Do I have to do that with other students, or is it just an assignment that each individual student has to submit?
Yeah, the assignments are individual. So you'll be working on your own assignment, and that's quite important really, because the assignment links to your context, your learners, your lessons. So you'll be taking the course themes and linking them to a personal assignment. Even the title of your assignment will be unique to you. So everyone has an assignment instruction to work towards, but you will tailor that to what you teach and who you teach and the things in the module that have resonated most closely with that. So you'll not only be working on your own assignment, but you'll be actually the only one with that assignment title.
Excellent. Okay, and then further questions on the assignment is, how are these graded? And if I happen to fail, do I get another chance to submit my assignment?
Do you want to take this one, Jean? So don't hog all the questions.
Thank you. The assignments are graded according to a particular marking rubric, which we make transparent. You all have access to that rubric, and we mark the assignments together and moderate them together, both within the cohort and across the cohorts, to make sure that the standard is the same across all the cohorts and all the different PGCEi students. And yes, you will be able to see that marking rubric and how we assess the assignments. If you fail your assignment, you do get another chance to submit. So you can resubmit an assignment as long as you have got, in fact, you can resubmit an assignment twice as long as one of those is over a spot mark of 43. And then we really want you to succeed. So the aim is for you to succeed in this course. Yeah, I hope that's answered your question.
Good. And the next question is from Huda, which is related to the support provided by the tutors. How can I contact the tutors? How readily available are they?
Well, I'll answer this on behalf of me and Jean, but do correct me, Jean, if you think I'm wrong. But email tends to be the best way to contact your tutor. And we aim to reply within 3 working days. So we're not available over the weekend, but we are Monday to Friday. Sometimes we might reply much quicker than 3 working days, but that's what we aim for, to make sure we reply within 3 working days. Don't know if you've got anything to add, Jean, or...
No, I think that's right. But I mean, really, you can email us anytime, and yeah, we will always reply.
Yeah.
Good. Good. And there's quite a lot of applicants here tonight that have asked about QTS, which is really quite a common question that does come up. And really, in a nutshell, why does this program not hold QTS?
So this is quite different from a QTS program. So QTS, qualified teacher status, means that it's a program that is quite intensive on observing your teaching and meeting very set standard kind of UK teaching standard, the UK teaching standards. So it's a lot more constrained, and it involves quite intensive observation of your teaching and judgments of the teaching that you do. This isn't what we do on the PGCEi at the University of Nottingham. So we're very, very long established programme, much longer established than the IQTS is. And our focus is on sharing educational literature and theory, and for you to reflect on what you do and link that to what you do. And it is a very different programme from an IQTS programme, which involves a mentor observing your practice. I don't know, Jean, if you've got anything to add to that.
Yes, I think what I would like to say is I think also the PGCEi program was designed for teachers in international schools, whereas the QTS really is a kind of practical qualification for teachers who want to teach in the UK specifically. So most of our students historically have been in international schools and have not intended on teaching in the UK. And so the IQTS has never really been a kind of relevant add-on to us.
Right, absolutely. And there's just a follow-up question on that from Jennifer. Does the university assist us in gaining a QTS? Is there a way to gain this QTS?
Not through the University of Nottingham, no, is the short answer. So, you know, if you want to teach in England, there are programmes such as the short course to QTS, which can be as short as 3 months if you are teaching within a school and you have the kind of theoretical background behind you and the practical background behind you. But this isn't something that we offer at the University of Nottingham. So no is a short answer.
And I just wanted to add here, Jennifer, that we always advise applicants to contact QTS directly once you have completed the University of Nottingham program, and they may be in a situation to assist you with your query. So our team will be able to give you the link to that particular institution. Okay, and the next question actually relates to the duration of the program. I know there's quite a lot of applicants that want to complete it in a shorter period than 12 months. So the question is this possible? Is there a fast track option to this program?
Should I do that one, Ruth?
Yeah, go ahead, you can do it.
Okay. No, there isn't. I mean, the program is designed to last over a particular period so that you engage with the materials really in the way that that's intended. So we don't encourage any speeding up. The submission dates are set, and you meet those submission dates, and then the feedback is also set, and then you move from one module to the next around particular dates. So you can't do it fast track, I'm afraid.
Right, absolutely. And I'm sure with the workload that many of you do have, you really don't need to put additional pressure on yourselves. No. So rather just pace it as the program is set, which actually brings us to another question, is how many hours should I really be dedicating to my studies per week? As you may know, in the Middle East, a lot of the teachers work very, very long hours, and I'm sure in other countries as well. So they want to be able to feel comfortable in actually passing and dedicating time to the program. So what is the average hour per week they should be dedicating?
Yeah, I think the advice in terms of it being a 20 credit module, each 20 credit module, is it tends to be about 200 student effort hours. So if you add that up over the year, you'll have 600 student effort hours over the year. So I mean, the maths on that depends whether you want to put in a little bit each evening, a few hours each evening, or have a chunk of a day over the weekend to work on it. Or maybe, you know, you'll have a bigger chunk over some holidays if you are lucky enough to actually get time off over the holidays and not have other commitments going on. So yeah, it's the good thing about the course is with it being online learning, you find the slots in your own working week or day or, you know, term to some extent. But yeah, it's across the full course. It's 600 effort hours we recommend.
Good. And the workshops, there's quite a lot of questions around the workshops. And the first question is, what is really covered over the first 2 days of this workshop? That's the first question. And the second question is, if I cannot make one of the days, do I still stay in the program?
Do you want to take one of these, Jean? I'll take the other.
Okay, sure. So in the first 2 days is what we call the induction. So that's a kind of lead into the course. And in that 2 days, the first 2 days, we will give you a broad overview of the whole course. So we'll look at, oh no, I beg your pardon, a broad overview of the first 2 modules. We'll look at the kind of themes that are covered in each of those modules, but it's also really about familiarizing yourself with Moodle, as Ruth explained, and with the online materials, and getting to know your fellow students and getting to know your tutors. So it's really very important. The first induction, the first 2 days are really, really crucial. And then in the second 2 days, we revise content that is covered in Module 3 and go over some of the writing skills and research skills that are required for Module 3. Ruth, do you want to take the other part?
Yeah, so the induction, the face-to-face induction, is a compulsory part of the course. So it's really important that you can make those dates. So I think it's 15th and 16th of March. If you're not able to make one of those days or both of those days, then we would encourage you to transfer onto the next cohort and join at a time where you can, because it is a compulsory part of the course.
Absolutely. Good. And I will just answer the questions related to IELTS. Yes, IELTS is a requirement for the program. However, please do get in contact with us at Stafford. We'll be able to give you some guidance on other formal tests that the university does accept. So please do get in contact with us and we can assist you with that list as well. Okay. All right, and the next question is also pertaining to the number of years of working experience. Mentions here from Graham again. Dr. Ruth, you mentioned that if I don't have a degree, there is a way of me getting in. How many years working experience would I require?
This will be a case-by-case basis, so I can't answer that, unfortunately. But I would say put in an early application and it will go to a colleague, Dr. Tony Fisher, who looks very closely, case by case, at what your situation is and whether it will be a suitable course for you. Because you don't want to be on the course if you're not able to access it as well. So yeah, I can't give you a number of years that would be equivalent to having that undergraduate degree, unfortunately, but I would say get in an early application and see, because that is done case by case. I mean, there are students on the course who don't have lots and lots of years of experience behind them, and actually they get quite a lot out of the course, because as a newer educator, I think you're probably particularly reflective on how you're doing things and why you're doing things. So it can be a really valuable course even early on in your career. But in terms of the entry requirements, if you're not, fitting the box, if you like, of the generic entry requirements, then do get in touch with admissions, get an early application in and see, give it time to be reviewed and find out. But I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
That's fine. I'd like to add here as well that if you are going to be looking at entry on a non-standard basis, please ensure that your CV is very, very strong. In other words, we need to see all your roles and responsibilities over the years that you have been teaching or you've been in an educational setting. So that's very important. And I'd also like to add here as well, if you have done any other small qualifications, any other professional qualifications, do add that to your application as well, because that also does strengthen it up to a certain point. Okay, but again, do get in touch with us at Stafford and we'll be able to assist you with that as well. Okay, and a lovely question that always comes up: can I attend the graduation in the UK and will I get the same degree as a full-time student?
You're very welcome in Nottingham for the graduation ceremony. I usually attend myself, They happen twice a year in summer, and there's a winter graduation ceremony as well. I think the nice thing is it's a choice for you. You can get your certificate sent through the post to an updated address. You don't have to come all the way to the UK. We understand that it's not something that is a viable option for a lot of people, but you are always very welcome and invited to our graduation ceremony in Nottingham, where just like all the other students, you come up to the stage and you walk across, get your certificate. It's a special day, the gowns and the hats and everything. So yeah, it's an option for you, certainly.
Good, and it is a very auspicious occasion, so we really do encourage the students to attend. Okay, so I've got a question from, and I hope I can pronounce your name, I think it's Munjab, and I hope I've pronounced it correctly, Munjab. The question is, I'd like to progress into a master's after this program. Do I get credits, or do I have to start my master's from the beginning?
You want to answer, Jean?
You do get credits. You will get 60 credits if you are going straight to the MA education. You will get each of the modules is worth 20 credits, so you will take those 60 credits in total towards the master's course, which is 180 credits, I think, please. Is that correct? Yes. So you will have those 60 credits in your bank. Not all of the master's courses recognize the full 60. So I think the special education master's does not take all. I think you can only take 30 credits from your PGCEi towards that. And I think the education and leadership masters also will only recognize some of the PGCEi credits, but you will get recognition for sure in some way, either the full 60 or partial.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
Good. And sorry, continue, Dr. Ruth.
I was just going to add to that as well. It's not just necessarily the University of Nottingham that might recognise those credits. So if there's a course that you're interested in, do contact the provider of that master's level course and explain. It's called Recognition of Other Learning, ROL, and see how many of those 60 credits they may recognise for the course that you want to do. But that's something to check with the provider of the course that you would want to move on to.
Good advice there. Okay, and then we have a question from Bongani, who's based in Botswana. Can I attend the campus at any time during my studies?
Well, we've got an open campus which is open to the public. I used to go when I was a young girl, actually, and they go on the boating lake and things. It's beautiful, our lakeside campus. So you're always welcome to come onto the campus. What you don't get actually is a student card, which is a shame. So there will be some buildings that you don't necessarily get access to, but I would say get in touch with your tutor if you're interested in that, or seeing our School of Education, because they might be able to arrange something. But generally speaking, you're always welcome to come onto our campuses, and particularly the Lakeside campus is very beautiful. But yeah, the graduation ceremony, of course, you'd be very welcome to attend as well. But yeah, access to the buildings might be tricky because you don't get a student card on the PGCEi. Would you agree with that, Jean? I don't know if I've missed it.
Although I think technically you are a student of the UK campus, so I would imagine that if you were coming to the UK as a PGCEi student, I think we probably would be able to arrange something, Ruth. Do you think? I have to say, Bongani, this is not something that has happened before, but I'm sure we could help in some way.
Yeah, you are our student in Nottingham, so it would be a shame if we couldn't. You're right, Jean.
Yeah, absolutely. Do get in touch with your university support team as well, and they'll be able to guide you on that as well. Or again, your tutors are very welcome to give you some advice on that as well, Bongani. Okay, good. And this is an interesting question that's come from Huda again. I know that you mentioned the program is 12 months, but what would be the maximum time period I could possibly stretch it if I needed to stretch it?
That's an excellent question, I think, because often, as we know, with life and working and studies, things happen. The procedure or the policy is that you have to complete the course within 3 years of your registration. But there are mechanisms that you can use if you can take a voluntary interruption of studies, for example, if something happens in your life and you need a bit of a time out from your studies, and that literally puts your studies on hold for a period that you define. And as long as you complete the entire course within 3 years of your initial registration, that will be fine. So you have got some buffers within the study period to help you.
Right, perfect. And the age-old question, does my degree state online distance learning, or is it the same degree as a full-time student?
It doesn't say online distance learning because it's not an online only course. So we mentioned the face-to-face is compulsory. It's a really important element, and it is the element that means you're not on an online course. So no, the certificate does not say online because it is not considered an online course or qualification.
Absolutely good. And I will just answer the last question, which pertains to the application deadline. Yes, the application deadline is in January, and that is the final application deadline. However, we do encourage applicants to submit their application at least by the 13th of December of 2024. Now, the reason for this is that the university will only take a maximum of 100 students per intake. So that's across the Middle East and across Africa and actually worldwide. So I do encourage you to submit your application as early as now and let us get that into the university and get that very important unconditional offer. Okay, all right, so I have managed to actually group all the questions together this evening. Thank you very much, Dr. Ruth and Dr. Jean. Lovely seeing you again, Dr. Jean. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Jean earlier this year in the UAE, as well as Dr. Ruth. And I do hope that we'll see you all next year. I think you'll be coming through in March and in October, so I really look forward to seeing you both. And I do hope that some of our attendees this evening will also be joining us in the program next year. Okay, thank you everybody. Have a fantastic evening and hope to see you on our program. Good evening all.